Good afternoon and welcome to Ministry Shift. It's fantastic to be able to gather together today. And today we're thinking about what it is we will be preaching about over the Christmas period. And so I've got four wonderful people to join with me thinking about this today. We've got Adrian Dorber. And got Malcolm Mycock.
Hi.
Richard Craswell.
Hello.
And Deborah Walton.
Hi.
So as we prepare for this wonderful season, how are we feeling about preaching? So where are we coming to preaching from? And I think I'm going to ask Adrian first. Where are you at?
It's a year like none other, and everybody will say that. I think half the art of preaching at Christmas is not only giving a fresh and compelling insight into God's wonderful strategy of becoming one of us and saving us from the inside, so to speak, but it's also trying to get inside the imagination and the hearts of the people who are going to be listening to us. And this year, I don't think there'll be too many prizes for guessing what are the preoccupations. The worries and the darkness has been monumental this year. And so I think what we can talk about convincingly is the way in which God adopts God's self to our condition, that no darkness is a stranger to him, and that we have a God of compassion and mercy. And therefore to try and spell that out alongside the things that people have been going through and the stories that are really before us obviously need to feature. And of course, a lot depends on the service you're at. I mean, there's a world of difference between a midnight mass and the joy of Christmas morning when you've got lots of young families there. At the cathedral, the midnight Eucharist is very, very quiet. Actually, it's very unlike any other place I've been at. It's quite sober, which is that's the first for me. So you can say something quite serious. And then we've got a whole load of other services where you've got exactly 2 or 3 minutes to say something really to the point when you've got gift services and things like that. So you've got to adapt your manner to the moment with lots of variation.
Absolutely. So how is everybody else feeling about preaching this Christmas? I know that I'm pretty exhausted coming into a season when it normally takes me quite a long time to think about those wonderful varied messages that you were talking about, Adrian. But how are we feeling? Are you like me? Are you tired? Richard, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Tired. I think there's been so much energy that's been used up this year for so many other things. And we've gone into lockdown too, so it's been back to online services, and then we're back out of it again, and it's getting your head around all those things. Normally by now I've probably written 2 or 3 of my Christmas sermons. I haven't written a single thing down so far. It's quite terrifying, really. I've got some ideas, but I haven't actually written a single thing yet, and that is not like me at all.
Are you full of energy, Malcolm?
I'm tired, but I got to say, I love this time of year, and I kind of love the opportunities that it gives. And I think even though we kind of we're in lockdown, it's not going to Christmas is going to be how we'd like it to be. I just think that there's, and I guess some of you who know me will perhaps know what I'm going to say, but I just think that it's such a good opportunity to share the good news because of how bad this year's been. Yeah. And actually, in Advent, how we kind of that cheery. I was preaching on Mark 1 about the beginning of the good news, and it's been such a difficult year. But actually, and now Advent thinks about sort of sin and death and judgment. It sounds so dark, but of course, it's been a dark time, hasn't it? Yeah. But then we get this opportunity to share this beautiful, awesome good news about the Lord Jesus. So it kind of excites me because it gets the evangelist in me, which is kind of what I am really, to be honest. So yeah, I am excited. I'm just impressed that Rich would normally have 3 sermons written by now. I'm very impressed at that. But,
absolutely, it's the content I want to know so I can steal it and write mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Deborah, Adrian talked about different contexts contexts. And of course, you're coming into a new context at the moment. You've not been there that long. First Christmas. What is it that you're thinking about preaching in the midst of these times?
I mean, I always think preaching's an exciting task and a real privilege, and it's very moving in a new context to share a first Christmas with a community, and particularly with a community that have been through lockdown. And my new parish is here, you know, through much of the vacancy they've been in lockdown as well. So they've had a really difficult time, and it's a joy to be able to lead them. It's been great fun to try and get online a bit, which we've been doing. And so we'll be offering a mixture of online and face-to-face services. And I think I think in any community, what you do is journey together and share the good news for us as a community. And the Christmas message, I think, is very, well, perhaps more poignant for people who've been isolated and stuck in, especially as we unpack how quietly Christmas arrived when it first came. And so it's really, it's really very special for people to know that it isn't necessarily just about their turkey and what isn't happening, but it's really about something that happens very discreetly and very quietly to people who are outside of a situation. So yeah, so I'm excited. I've also obviously created all my own excitement and craziness that I think the parishes here are a bit shocked by, but because I'm new, they're still going along with and smiling and pretending it's what they want to happen. So that's quite joyful.
Absolutely. So thinking about all these different contexts, is there one single message that we're each going to try and get across, or are they going to be very different? So I'm going to ask about sort of two classic Christmas services. So there's that Christmas morning service, but there's also the Christingle or the crib service, where we tend to have lots of people who aren't always there all of the year. So Adrian, is there going to be a difference of what your key message is, or will it be the same?
Well, you've always got to try and tell the story with a twist. Both my daughters have got arts backgrounds, and I know what they go through in having to present work, because you're never allowed as an artist to repeat yourself. So you've got to be avant-garde, you know, and therefore you've got to get in mind, you've got to have very firmly worked out a new angle. And I mean, that really has challenged me as a parent to know that my two daughters are very talented people, but you know, a dance act more creative than I am. So there's a bit of kind of parental rivalry sets in where I knew, you know, I do have to work hard, especially been in the game as long as I have, not to go repeating yourself. And I throw sermons away these days. I don't file them, because it's like, you know, manna in the wilderness. It goes moldy if you keep it. So I think there's the challenge always to try and think it through afresh. But the context will determine what's hearable. And certainly the crib service on Christmas Eve afternoon is people want a way into the nativity story again. We encourage our congregation to come dressed up in nativity costumes. So all the kids do, and the parents look a bit embarrassed with tea towels on their heads and things. But it's to make the most of that. And you know, we've got an adult congregation who will, you know, merrily dress up in nativity costumes as well. That we do make ourselves fools. You know, the Dean of Lichfield put a wig on and things like that. So we're not there standing on our dignity and pomposity, but it's to say there's just the sheer joy of simple people encountering a new child. You know, and as a parent, I mean, the greatest moments in my life has been, you know, holding my kids after they've been born. And there's something amazing about a newborn child. The Buddhists have a phrase, you know, that if you want to de-stress yourself or get rid of your fear or your anxiety, look at the person you're talking to as if that person is newborn. Yeah, I mean, you see a newborn child, you know, something happens, doesn't it? And I think that what you're trying to create in a Christmas congregation is that sheer delight in the newness of it, the sheer delight in something coming into the world which will change your life absolutely, but will bring you joy that you've never even dreamt of. And I think that's what we've got to be able to try and communicate.
Fabulous. So I'm going to pick on you again, Rich. What I want to steal your ideas. You've got some, so tell me.
Yeah, well, I like to look at both the Bible passages that I'm going to preach on, but also I like to look at the adverts. Often, there's the John Lewis advert or something like that that catches people's attention. This year, the one that's caught my attention is the Tesco advert, because it says, this year, there is no naughty list. This year, there is no naughty list. And there's a brilliant video that I've just picked up only the other day on YouTube, and it's called When Santa Learned the Gospel. If you haven't found it, go see it. It's really interesting. And it talks about how actually, Santa has divided the world into good and naughty children. But actually, when he picks up a Bible, he discovers that we are all fallen individuals. We've all missed a step. And even when we try, we're not there. But there is a naughty list, but actually Jesus takes all the punishment. He takes all of that coal, if you like, all of those lumps of coal, and he heaps those upon himself. And we are placed on the good list because of what Jesus has done for us. And I think that for me is a brilliant message. So I haven't quite worked out which service it's for, but that's one of them. So I'm definitely going for that. And then the other one is this hope, which I think Adrian had factored into earlier on, picked up on earlier on, this idea that we're all hoping that vaccines will change things in 2021. We're all hoping that things will get back to normal, all of those kind of ideas. But actually, we really need to put our hope in the one who can really put things right again, that we need to put our hope in Jesus Christ. I think it's Gav Calver who talks about hope has a name, and that name is Jesus. So there's some ideas for you.
I used that this Sunday. Go. Malcolm, can you help me?
Oh, I wish I could. I think Rich is I think he's just said it all really, but I suppose. I mean, I've been thinking about what I'm going to say to the community here and just about trying to get across the message. I mean, Christmas on the estates, people are excited about it. They spend a lot of money, making the most of the time. The houses here are amazing. It's like Blackpool Illuminations, I tell you, as you drive through Abbey Hilton. But I also know that this time of year comes to an end so quickly. Do you know what I mean? I think it's that eternal sort of good news and eternal hope that I want to get across. And that's kind of what Yeah, but Adrian's made me think as well, because I often kind of say the same thing, but it's trying to find a new way of saying it, isn't it? Which kind of makes people sit up and listen, I guess. Mm-hmm. And using film, I mean, I think I'm learning that's really good. If you can find a nice little clip to show. And I found one, it's not a new clip, but a little nativity clip. He came down, it's by Speak Life. Glenn Shrivner has got some amazing things, actually. He came down. Another one I found was Santa versus Jesus, I think it was, which is amazing. So I'm kind of thinking of perhaps using them somehow, because they're just good fun, good to come off the back of.
And what does the craziness look like with you, Deborah?
Well, we're doing well, yeah, I mean, it's not all crazy, obviously. Just to reassure any of my parishioners who are watching, it'll be pretty trad, the stuff you're expecting. So yeah, we'll be thinking about comfort and joy and what that actually means, because it's easy to say. And is comfort and joy a vaccine, or is it not? Or is it a Christmas drink, or is it not? And what do the angels really mean when they talk about comfort and joy to people who are complete outsiders, really living in a really difficult time? The craziness looks about, well, Christingle. So some of you will know that we did Cooking with Caleb, who's my son, during lockdown 1 on a Friday morning. So we've got Christingles with Caleb, which will involve nursery rhyme tunes and new songs that we've composed lyrics to. And we'll be thinking about light shining in darkness. We've also got a bit of an outdoor play thing going on to try and share the Christmas story with the community and for the community. And that involves 3 wise women. So we've been thinking a little bit here within the churches about, what parts of the Christmas story are important. Does it matter that they were wise men, or could they have been wise women? And how important is that? So yeah, so lots of things people would expect, and lots of outdoor things. So we're going to record an outdoor crib service. I'm hoping to rake some of the farmers in to lend me a few animals, or at least to let me into barns with small children to record some crib activity. But obviously for us as a rural community, using our outdoor spaces is really very much part of how we worship and find community and find God.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's going to be such a lot of variety and excitement around this Christmas. And I do think, you know, looking to our context, as Adrian said, is key. But I've got some ideas and I hope that you have been able to find some too. Thank you so much for watching. Please do join us again for Ministry Shift. Please do comment, ask any questions, and like and share. Thank you. Merry Christmas.